The inhabitant movement went far beyond any semblance of control I might have once maintained. As the weeks and months passed without success in finding our primary, our excited purpose turned to anxious desperation. Some forced people to use the machine who hadn't yet tried, to see if anything would change, though I knew that wasn't really how this worked. Others, instead of our usual warm welcome and gentle curiosity for the primary to come forward, turned to threats of violence backed by entitled rage. As for myself during this time, regretfully, I began to grow desperate myself, though I didn't inflict this desperation on the world as much as within myself. I started doubting I'd ever meet this person, if they even existed, and that perhaps our scientific logic, the assumed rules for all the time travel and unique universes we'd been operating under, were entirely meaningless fabrications made by minds trying foolishly to understand something far beyond human comprehension. Those who turned to me during this time for guidance received none. What could I say? I could barely provide answers for my own internal battles, let alone hope to assist anyone else in their time of need. My mental and physical health seemed to rapidly deteriorate during this harsh period. As it was for many of you, there appeared to be no hope of saving myself from this constant anguish, this inevitable spiral into oblivion that came with the impossibility of ever receiving the definitive answers I so desperately required. But then, it happened. Everything changed in an instant. She arrived. She was a beautiful woman, normal as far as outward appearances go. Yet she was the most special human being in existence. She was the primary. She explained it to me and to those who were lucky enough to listen. She had used the machine and gone back 2.5 years, and it brought her back to this point from a future not too distant but different enough. She'd been back in her past body for about a week at that point, and had heard of the inhabitant movement, that we were searching for our primary for her, and it had taken her some time to work up the courage to approach us, to reveal herself as the one we'd been waiting for. Her explanations were insufficient, you could say. They always were going to be. She only had slightly more plausibility than the previous fakers, and so there were many who simply didn't believe her. She had answers to all of our questions, and she gave them with an unsure confidence, like she knew it was the truth, but she also knew there was no way to prove it. To me, it didn't matter. Something within me, some unknown sense, knew it was her. I knew she spoke the truth, that she had come from the future, returned to this universe, our universe, her universe. Yet I also knew that, like her, I couldn't prove this in any way. Perhaps it was the endless hours we spent in each other's company. This relationship began with in-depth explanations of the future to convince me of her primary title. But our conversations soon extended to the machine, the universes, the paradox solutions, the reasons why this was her universe, that she was our primary, and what it meant for her and for everyone else on the planet. I was so enamored with everything she had to say that we discussed less and less these gargantuan topics, and learned more and more about each other, who we were outside of all the larger universal implications. We spoke of our dreams and goals, our pasts and potential futures, our failures, our successes, our mistakes and regrets, everything. Over time, we grew closer to each other than either of us had ever been with anyone else before. We spent less time with the outside world, with the movement, preferring only each other's company to all alternatives. Given the choice, I'm sure we would have both kept it that way until our inevitable ends, but that was not our destinies.